Comparison is the thief of joy. I say that time and time and time again. But the key is, why do I say that on a continuous basis? It's because I know that resonates with millions of young men. I know that resonates with the viewer and the subscriber and the guy that is embarking on his journey on the path. And I almost speak to my younger self when I say this, because when I was younger, any accolades that I'd achieved, any achievement or anything substantial that I deemed substantial, I always compared it to someone else that was, I guess, from my perception, doing better at a younger age or at the same age as me. And that bugged me. I completely ignored their circumstances, their upbringing, their education, the region of the world they grew up in. And I immediately, it's almost like comparing apples and oranges. You can still enjoy them both, but it's preposterous and asinine to compare an apple and an orange because it's completely different. They might be from the same family, as in they're both fruits, but they serve different purposes. They're grown differently. They're in different environments slightly, and they're not the same thing. That's essentially what you're doing when you're comparing yourself to your peers. Comparison is the thief of joy. I've said this quote before, and I'm going to repeat myself paraphrasing because I think it's so profound. And it's the fact that anyone's opinion of your current version is irrelevant and redundant because you're not the finished article. You will be the finished article in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. No matter how far down the journey you are, you're always developing, you're always improving. So as long as you know, and I've always said this, the past doesn't matter, and the current situation that you find yourself in is also irrelevant. What's important is you know where you're headed. That is the key, because eventually and inevitably, you will reach that destination. But I digress slightly. In reality, as I said, anyone's, especially people that aren't your friends or family, because you are not the perfect version yet. And as a matter of fact, just to delve into it slightly more, your own opinion of current you is also irrelevant. Who cares what you think about your current version? Because your current version isn't going to last long. The person that you're going to be in 2 to 3 years, caveat obviously that you're doing the right things and practicing the right habits, but the person that you're going to become in 3 to 4 years is not the person you are today. So why do you even bother stressing? Why do you even bother comparing? This is just a reminder, just to hit home once more, just a bit more motivation that, look, you might be putting in the work now. I presume you're putting in the work. You should be putting in the work. But what I'm telling you is it's not in vain. Compound Effects, written by Darren Hardy, phenomenal book. He speaks about the compound effect in depth. He delves into it in a lot of detail. And it's essentially comparing man A and man B. Now, man A and man B may have come from a similar environment, similar education system, similar upbringing, and they reached the age of 21 together. They perhaps went to high school together. They both went to college, university. Maybe they didn't go to university, but they both start employment. Now, man A decides that when he comes home from work, he doesn't exercise or go to the gym. He opens up a can of beer, drinks booze, he watches Netflix, he eats candy, he eats an ice cream, right? Doesn't dedicate his time to learning or development or starting a business, and he's very, very risk averse. You have man B. Again, he also goes to work, goes to his 9 to 5, he comes home from work. But rather than sitting there with a tub of Ben and Jerry's, he decides that after work, look, I'm going to go to the gym and exercise for 45 minutes to an hour, shower, and then come home. He decides to have a healthy meal. He doesn't drink a pint of beer instead. He drinks water, or he might have the odd tea or coffee. He doesn't watch Netflix. He decides to open up a book. He decides that actually, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes because I've had quite a stressful day. So you compare man A and you compare man B. They both go to work. They both have a 9 to 5. Now, in the beginning, they will do what they're going to do. In the beginning, they're going to be like this. The guy that eats a tub of Ben and Jerry's for a week and the guy that reads for a week, or heck, even a month, the development is not going to be... The differences is not going to be a contrast. They're going to be very similar. Nothing would have changed from the outside. If a random person saw both of them, there's not going to be much change from a muscle standpoint, a weight standpoint, a mentality standpoint, a knowledge standpoint. But as the months continue, and this is where the compound effect kicks in, As the months continue, bearing in mind that man B is consistent, and this is the caveat here, this is the key. This is what's imperative, is that man B is consistent with what he does. After, and this is what Darren Hardy found, the author of this book, after month 18, the contrast was unbelievable. It was, you cannot compare the two individuals anymore. Man B was in a different stratosphere. If you can analyze a chart, you have the Y variable and you have the X variable. You would assume that in life, that when you invest in something, that everything will be directly proportional, that the variables are going to be directly proportional, but that's not how life works. We know that the success graph is continuously fluctuating. It's not just a straight line, right? It's continuously fluctuating, full of ups and downs. So that's what the two men experience, especially man B, is he's committed to self-improvement. But after 18 months, it's almost like an asymptote. So if you've studied mathematics before, you understand in the beginning, there's not much of a difference. And then you have a little tick towards the end. That's basically where everything has become exponential. The growth is now exponential. Man B is in a different stratosphere. And this is the point that I'm making. As long as you're dedicated to your craft and you're focused on your calling, you're focused on the mission, and you ignore what the naysayers say, in 3 to 5 years, you're going to experience that tick. That exponential growth is exactly what you're going to experience. So you might be 22, you might be 25, you might be 20 or 19 or even 18, and you're practicing the good habits. You're on NoFap, you're eating clean, you're not eating processed sugar, you're not drinking alcohol, you're not taking drugs, you're not playing video games, you're doing all these good things, you're practicing good habits, and all your friends are falling around and they're still getting success and they're still attracting women, and you feel as though everything you're doing is in vain. You might feel that way, because I used to feel that way. But I'm telling you, it's not in vain. Because in the beginning, when you're young, there's not going to be a big difference. But the compound effects will eventually kick in. But the prerequisite is that you have to continue on the journey. You cannot really slip up. You cannot really slip up. As long as you do a little bit every single day, it will eventually compound. And you watch, in 3 to 5 years, it will be unrecognizable. Your own self will be unrecognizable. You would not be able to compare yourself to them, because they will go downhill, they will simply regress, and you will simply progress beyond your wildest dreams. Any goal that you have, you're going to accomplish. You're going to accomplish. You are going to achieve phenomenal things on this earth. But of course, the caveat is that you're dedicated, that you're persevering, that you're working hard on a continuous basis. That is the key. That is the reality here. So you have to be dedicated to the cause. You have to understand that the journey is going to be difficult. You cannot expect it to be easy. Of course, it's going to be hard, arduous. Of course, there's going to be hurdles and obstacles. But eventually, you will reach the destination. In 3 to 5 years, you won't be the same person. The work that you're putting in right now, fellas, is not in vain. 2025 is around the corner as I make this video. In 2028, 2029, imagine the person that you're going to be. That's the image that you have to hold in your mind. Gentlemen, I promise you, good times await. The most money that you're ever going to make, those best days, they lie ahead of you. The people that you're going to attract, the relationships, the friendships, the business connections, the networks, the best times are yet to come. The best times, they all lie ahead of you. Are there going to be bad moments? Of course, that's life. But the best moments lie ahead of you. You have to be optimistic, because you have every reason to be optimistic. And that is just a reminder to all of you that the work that you're putting in is not in vain. It is not to no avail. It will prevail at some point, I promise you. So hopefully that's beneficial. Hopefully you've gained value from the video that I've provided you guys. If you've enjoyed it, consider subscribing, hit the bell notification, smash the like button, leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.